just your average everyday trucker, keeping it real. I'm your host, Chris Blodgett, and you're listening to Real Talk Tuesday. This week's topic, all in commitment to your fur babies. Hey guys, welcome back. As always, appreciate you being here. Thank you for tuning in with me again on this week's Real Talk Tuesday episode. Hope you guys enjoyed the story this past week. Actually, as I was listening to that episode myself, when it posted, like I do all my episodes to make sure that everything sounds good. I think I do have to edit. I believe. I think I might have to edit the Real Talk from last week, possibly. One of the last couple episodes was like literally right near the end. There's like one little stretch where I gotta add another section of the background music, and I usually drop the volume down. But I think that last stretch near the end, actually might have been the last story, like a week ago from the Storytime Friday, I guess. Because I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I think it was a Storytime Friday. Like towards the end, before the story ends, and come back with the regular background music, and close it out with a few words afterwards. I think that clip that I put in there, I didn't drop the volume, so when I was listening to it myself, it went full volume at the tail end. But then of course at the end, and then everything was basically back to normal. It was just a little stretch. So if you notice that, I apologize. I'm probably going to get around to editing that. I keep telling myself I got to. I keep forgetting, of course. So apologies. But it's still. I mean, yeah, it was a little bit off because the volume was a little bit higher than normal. But still a good story. Still ended. So hope you guys enjoyed it. And then hope you guys enjoyed the one that just posted this past Friday. That one, honestly, when I was listening to that one, I'll admit, when I was listening to that, I was I kind of enjoy actually telling stories within stories. Like, telling a story about, a family, going camping or whatever, and then, of course, the dad is going to tell a campfire story to his kids, so he's telling a story inside of the story, which, it's tricky to pull off. Especially because you got to keep everything together, like not just the names of the main characters in the main story, but the names of the story that he's telling in the story. So, well, what can I say? I'm basically trying to be consistent and proactive, and get these episodes recorded for you guys every week. And, you know, I do them in a way that I make sure that I can get them done, because if I try to wait, or if I decide to wait until Sunday when I'm off, then I have to carve some time out, like 2 or 3 hours or whatever, to actually, you know, read a full-on, like, one of the written stories, versus, like, if I come up with one freestyle, then I just kind of, like, hit record out here while I'm working, and, you know, while I have nothing but time going down the road, and I just go ahead and record and come up with a story for you guys, and then try to do the real talk. It's, you know, not at the same time, but I try to do it when I'm out here as well, sometime throughout the week for the following week. So that way, by the time I go into the new week, I've already got Real Talk and Storytime Friday for that week recorded, and I just gotta then plan for the following week. So coming up here in the next couple weeks, next like 4 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, I'll be technically off for 2 days, or for 2 weeks rather, and gonna actually head back to where we moved from for like 2 days to take care of some stuff, you know, and then be coming back here. The plan was to go see my parents for a week, but unfortunately they're gonna be out of town, so that kind of fell through. So probably have to try to see them in the summer, but hey, you know. But during that time off, even though I'm going to have a lot of time, I bet I'm going to feel pretty lazy because of the fact that, hey, I'm home with the fam, not having to work, blah, blah, blah. And if I'm, like, hanging out with the wife or hanging out with the kids or whatever, or doing stuff, then obviously I'm not going to be on the computer or with the headset on the phone, doing recordings or whatever. But I gotta, you know, I gotta do what I can during that time off to, you know, get some stuff recorded. I'll get some episodes recorded, get stuff, you know, still keep things moving, even though I'm not going to be technically working. I'll probably have episodes for that first week that I'm off done by, you know, from the previous week, and then that week I'll have to do episodes for my second week off, and then sometime during that time, basically do the episodes for the week I'm coming back as well. So that way, you know, everything still continues moving forward. Don't have to worry about there being a break in the show, which I know I've done before, where I took a week off or 2 weeks off and didn't post anything. But I'm kind of trying to avoid that. So hard to do with the lack of time, of course. I was chatting with my buddy Dave, you know, from the Raw Chat segment. Yesterday morning, you know, 'cause he comes in at like 3 in the morning, and of course I work 5 p.m. You know, leave the house at like 3, get to my load at like 5:30 or 6, and then I get home by like between 6 and 8 in the morning. So it's like he's a writer as well. He has a couple books in the works and stuff, and he actually sent me a link to one of them, and has been wanting me to check it out and tell him what I think. And of course, I'm like, the app that he sent it to me on, I believe I have to be on the computer to do it. I don't think I can do it on the phone. And I was like, well, if I could do it on the phone, I would have already checked it out. But if I have to be on the computer, I was like, bro, I don't get on the computer. I mean, as much as I want to anyway. I don't get on there as much as I would like to, because I want to be, like, that's one of my retirement goals, be to get to the point where I'm, you know, making enough passive income where I don't have to do what I'm doing, or at least I can do it a lot less. But then I would, you know, because there's people that say, like, oh man, like I could never quit working because I'd be too bored. And I'm like, well, trust me, there's things that I want to do. I just haven't been able to because, you know, lack of time. And Dave, of course, like, well, bro, you gotta carve out, you gotta find the time. I'm like, that's easier said than done, because I work 6 days a week, basically put in my 70, and, you know, I said I get home between 6 and 8, I get back up at 3 to get ready to come back to work. I was like, there's, you know, now it's like I'm getting to bed later because, you know, gotta take care of something literally as soon as I get home, instead of going right to bed or whatever. That kind of leads me into, you know, the inspiration for this week's topic about all-in total commitment to your fur babies. So I had told you guys in one of the previous, I think it might have been the last Real Talk or something, I don't know. One of the last 2 episodes, I had kind of hinted at that there was a change. There's something that was was happening. Might have been within the last 3 episodes. Might have been like 2 Storytime Fridays back. Trying to think what the story was on that one. Damn, so tired I can't honestly, like, I remember the story, but I can't think of the title off the top of my head. It's like one of those where, like, I was trying to talk to Rico. He's one of the ones for the Keeping It Real segment. We were talking about food, and I had mentioned something about, like, yeah, you know, like, I don't know, maybe I'll get back into meal prep again like I did before, where I was bringing meals out here instead of buying food. And what I was doing was, when I was doing the Illinois run from Nashville, is I would cook these stuffed chicken breasts, like the Kievs or the Cordon Bleus, or the ones I found the most at Publix, Kroger back there were the broccoli and cheese ones. I mean, I like the ham and cheese ones, but I also love the Kievs that have like the chicken with like kind of like a broccoli-ish, like kind of like a garlic butter with like broccoli remnants in it. I think, if I remember correctly, it's been a long time. But I was trying to tell Rico, I was like, hey, you know, like I remember I used to do like chicken breasts, I had green beans, and then I had this, and I was trying to tell him on the clip, and I was like, oh man, what was that? I was like, it wasn't rice. I was like, it's something that was a little bit, you know, supposed to be healthier than rice. I said, it wasn't couscous. I said, it's one of the ancient grains. And I'm like, what the hell was that? Man, I told him, I was like, I could see the package, and I could see the, you know, what it looked like when it was cooked. I said, it looked like little beans, kind of like small little grains or whatever. I said, well, man, I can't, what the hell is it? You know, like, so I Googled. It was like, I basically just did a search, like ancient grains or whatever, and I scrolled through a list, and I came upon it. I was like, quinoa, that's what it was. All right. I was like, yeah, bro. I was like, I could see it. I can remember what it tastes like. I can remember the package, you know, what it looked like when it was cooked. I said everything. I could not think of the name of it though. I was like, huh. So, but I was like, yeah, you know, I would actually, you know, meal prep and bring the quinoa and chicken breast and green beans out with me, and I would, you know, heat it up at the truck stop, you know, when I was doing the swap. I don't know, maybe I'll get back into that out here, but at the same time, it's like, if I start bringing meals out with me, though, I kind of want to, I don't know if I want to count on being able to heat up at the St. Louis terminal, because I do believe I saw a microwave in there, pretty sure, but I think if I'm going to commit long term, I think I want to like get some cutlery, like plasticware for the truck here, and go ahead and invest in a freaking microwave to put in here, so that way it could be like, that way it's like I don't have to worry about where I'm, you know, because I've gone to like Love's, other truck stops as well, and then like taking my food in there to try to heat up, and of course sometimes you go in a place thinking, well, I'm sure they got a microwave. You go in there, there's like no microwave, but crap. Well, shit. So, and that was always kind of stressful, because then I'd be like all excited, getting, you know, ready to eat, but then I couldn't heat it up. So I think if I do that, I want to, you know, get a setup in here, so that way I can just pull off somewhere and do it, or do it when I get to St. Louis, but not have to go in to do it, like be parked for, you know, go ahead and set myself up for my 30-minute break, or I'm gonna get some time back, and climb it back really quick and heat up the food, and, you know, eat, then run and use the bathroom really quick, and then go find my trailer, and, you know. So yeah, but so basically, this past weekend, literally like a week ago from today, technically, because today's now Saturday. It's like 4 in the morning at the time of this recording. Like the 21st now, I think. Yep, technically the 21st. Because because I guess it was like the 15th, no, it was 14th. And, you know, at that point we had, well, a couple of days prior to that, so probably like, I don't know, like the 10th or the 11th-ish or whatever, me and the fam, me and the wife and the kids, we'd been talking about floating the idea, so to speak, of getting a dog. I was kind of voicing my concern about it, because I was like, well, I don't really want to adopt a dog and not really be able to be there, you know, either, and spend time with, like, yeah, I'm home every day, but I'm, you know, I get home and basically it's like, all right, get home, eat, go to bed, get up, go to work, and then I'm off on Sunday. And I was like, I really don't want to stop being able to spend time with them at all, hammer her or whatever. And my wife was like, well, I mean, you'll be able to see them before, you know, when you get home, and see them before you leave, and then you have your day off, and it'll be fine. The kids actually already expressed wanting to, like, explore, go on walks or whatever. So I'm like, so I was like, all right. I was like, I'm not gonna put my foot down and say no, we're not doing this. But you know, because obviously you really want a dog. I was like, but I am putting my foot down in a way and saying I'm on record with you, expressing, you know, like putting this on record pretty much, like what I'm worried about. You know, that, like, yeah, they say they'll walk him or, you know, walk the dog or whatever, or, and, you know, but if it falls on us, and if we have to end up rehoming the dog again because, like, it ends up being too much because the kids are helping, I was like, I want to be on record with you so like we can look back and I'm not gonna say I told you so, but I'll be like, look, that's exactly what I said back then, and you still thought it was a good idea, so let's go. But I didn't. I was like, but, you know, obviously it's really important to you. You really want a dog. I mean, to the point where, like, we'd see a dog when we go on a walk or something. And of course, like, the owner, like, we might walk by and the dog would come up and lick us, whatever. But we'd be like, "Is it okay?" And the owner would be like, "Yeah, go ahead, pet him." Like, they're really friendly. I'm like, okay, cool. And then of course, afterwards, my wife is sending me freaking, like, dogs up for adoption listings. I was like, love, like, I know we want a dog, but we have a house, but it's not, doesn't have it has a backyard, but there's no fence or whatever. It's literally just an open yard. All the backyards of all the houses in our neighborhood basically wide open. And if we buy our house, obviously we're gonna fence that in or whatever, and make it an enclosed so we can make it official. But, you know, but we have a house. It's, you know, decent room inside, obviously, but compared to an apartment we had. But, you know, but she was very insistent on it, and I was like, I just don't think, I don't know if it's a good idea, you know, like, it's another commitment, you know, and we already don't have the time currently for a lot of stuff. But she's like, no, it'll be fine. And then I was pushing, saying that we should get a small dog, because if we're gonna have a dog and not have a backyard, we should have something small, you know, like small size, small to medium, you know, so that way it won't be too much to handle. We can pick the dog up and carry it down the stairs if we want it, or, you know, or carry it, take it in the car, whatever. So she started sending me these listings for this local pet shop. They call Petland. In the town not far from us, called Blue Springs or whatever. So, and it was a beagle. And she said, "Oh, look, we can call him Snoopy or whatever." And I'm like, "Huh, okay." I was like, "Yeah, we can go check him out." I was like, "Yeah." So she woke me up early compared to when I normally get up. Because I was like, I don't know if I'll be able to wake up early to go see this dog, you know, because I need to be rested to work. And she's like, "It'll be fine." I'm like, okay. So then she wakes me up an hour early, like at 2 o'clock instead of 3 o'clock or whatever. And I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm awake. So I was like, let's go ahead and go. So me, her, and our youngest went to go check this well, we went there to check out this one dog that we saw, but then we get into this store, and of course they have a bunch of puppies, like all these different, I'm not gonna call them cages, but, you know, areas, like, they got the glass in front, and they got, you know, a big living area for them. They got like 2 pups in each little section. And we saw Snoopy, which I guess that was the name that the pet store had listed for him. So I thought my wife was making that up herself, like, "Oh, we can name him Snoopy." I'm like, I mean, he's got big old ears, I guess. You know. we saw this other dog that we thought was a Pomeranian Husky, like a Pomsky. I was like, oh, check this one out, Luke, you know. I was like, I think we should look at that one. So, you know, we flagged down one of the workers, and of course she's like, yeah, which one do you want to you know, check out? And we're like, yeah, this one right here, you know, is that a Pomsky? And she was, actually, that's a Corgi. We're like, oh, Corgi, oh, cool, all right. Floppy ears still, whatever. I mean, kind of big ears, and you know, pretty small, but I guess they're still puppies yet or whatever. So they have these little booths that you can go, you know, put the families in, you know, with the puppy or whatever. So that way you can get to know them a little bit, you know, and see what you think. We're like, all right, cool. So me, the wife, and the kiddo, and this little puppy are in this little booth, which literally has you got a little bench in there to sit down, and it's got like 3 or 4 feet in front of it is where the door is. And of course, the door's low enough that the worker was able to stand like outside the booth, outside the door, and sorry, it's like for whatever reason on the DriveWise or whatever for all my fellow truckers, like the truck tablet in here has been just kind of on the fritz today. Not really, I don't even know if it's on the fritz. It's just like it's logged me out of Motive, which is what does our e-logs. It's logged out, and I've had to, like, you know, select Motive and have it go back in there again. And then it's now it's like on the DriveWise app for the way stations. It's like it went to the main screen saying like, you're ready to ride. I'm like, why are you I'm gonna have to reboot the tablet when I park for the night, or park for my 10, you know. Whoop whoop. I guess I could bypass the way station, it's closed. But so anyway, sorry about the distraction there. Literally it popped up and had a weird message on the screen. I'm like, why are you doing that? Besides, it's gonna like change, do something else. But so we're looking at this little pup, and sweet little guy too. Like, you know, we're petting him, and of course, you can tell he's a puppy or whatever. Like, literally just on the floor, just pees on the floor. And the worker is right there. She goes, "Oh no!" Grab a spray bottle and a towel, whatever. Comes in, sprays it, cleans it, whatever. We're like, okay. And then we're holding the puppy, and he starts barking and yapping at. We're like, oh, you're being really energetic. So we put him back on the floor, and then he shits on the floor. Oh, that's why you're yapping. Okay, you had to go potty. All right. Okay, there we go. I went to exit out to go back to my driving hours, and of course, it's like, do you want DriveWise to run in the background? I'm like, yes. I was like, I want to see my hours. I don't want to see the DriveWise app. Why are you asking me these questions when you normally do it anyway? So, shit's on the floor, and you know, she comes in, and she's like, oh my god, it's so stinky, you know. Of course, cleans up the poop, whatever, sprays the floor, and of course, after she cleans it up, I'm still standing back there going, it still smells in here. I was like, that spray didn't do anything, it still stinks in here, but we're petting him, of course, and so she comes back, and she's showing us like all these numbers, and she's so like, yeah, if you adopt a puppy here, you can, like, literally we give you all this stuff with your puppy. You know, you get like food, treats, toys, blah blah blah, and if you buy some of your supplies from us every 90 days, then your next puppy with us will be little to no cost. So it's like, okay, you know. So then she's going over numbers though, and she said, yeah, for like, you know, it costs this much, and blah blah blah, and all out the door, total cost with this little guy would be $4,100, whatever. And I'm like, I paused and I kind of turned and looked at her. I'm like, as in $4,100? And she goes, yeah. I'm like, And I was like, I don't know if that's gonna work, because then I looked at the wife. I was like, yeah, because I was like, we don't have that $4,100 available to us right now. I was thinking like, you know, if she quoted me like 500 to $1,000 to adopt this puppy, I wouldn't have wanted to fork out those funds, you know, to adopt a dog. You know, we'd already hung out with him and stuff. So I mean, if it was within that range, I probably would have done it. But 4,000, I think, yeah. But they're like, oh, we scanned this little QR code. We actually work with a couple companies and they literally, it's like they give you, it's funding, like loans or whatever. And I was telling Dave about this. He's like, so financing a dog? I'm like, yeah, pretty much. He goes, holy shit, bro. I'm like, yeah. I was like, but we applied. I looked at the wife. I said, I'll apply. I'm probably not going to get approved for that, though, dude. So I applied. Of course, you know, got all the almost said declination letters and the decline letters. And then, of course, I looked at her and she was like, should I apply too? I'm like, go for it. I was like, you're probably going to get denied too, but hey, we can at least say we tried it. We gave it our shot. We shot our shot, so to speak. And sure enough, she got declined too. So then, of course, you know, the lady came back. Yeah, unfortunately, everything came back declined. I'm so sorry. We're like, that's fine. You know, here you go. We handed the puppy back to her. She's like, oh, yeah, well, you know, you're on our mailing list and you've opted in for text messages and stuff, so you get updates from us. Like, yeah. But, you know, that sucks because I said we would have really loved to take him home. You know, but that's a lot to adopt a dog. You know, it's like, even though like purebred would have probably had all the paperwork on him and could probably have bred him if we wanted to, which we weren't going to do that. But I told the wife, I said, I would worry about paying $4,000 to adopt an animal only to have something happen. Like, you have the animal for less than a year or something and some disaster happens. Like, the animal gets out and ends up getting hit by a car or something. It's my daughter's boyfriend. He lives in Georgia right now, and he had this little dog. I don't know what kind of dog he was. I never met the dog. Because he's come to see us a couple times, or come to see my daughter a couple times, and you know, stayed with us for the week, like stayed down there on the bottom floor or whatever. But I guess after we moved up here, I guess the dog got off the leash or got out or something, and basically got hit by a bus. And he was a small dog too, so it sounded like there wasn't much left of him, you know. So it's like that was a very, you know, sad deal right there. Like I didn't, you know, obviously it didn't affect me and my wife because we never do the dog before, you know, we know her boyfriend just from, you know, actually seeing him and hanging out with him whenever he's visited to come up to visit her and stuff. But so you know, something like that, I would really worry about paying $4,000 to adopt an animal and then have the animal die in, like, you know, in a freak accident, and then you're still on the hook for this loan. And it's like, yeah, that would suck. It's like, oh, well, we no longer have the dog that we adopted, but we still owe this money to these lenders or whatever. It's like, so we sadly you know, we headed out, we went back, headed back home, swung through you know, like a drive-through on the way home, because basically it was like, you know, at that point it was technically a little bit after the time that I would normally leave for work. And you know, so I was already like, when we were heading out to go check the puppies out, I went ahead and, like, I was fully dressed, like my FedEx stuff, so I was like ready to go. Just figured that way I could bring the wife and kid home and, you know, grab my water bottle and whatnot, head out to work. So, but on the way home I was like, do you guys want to swing through? Are you guys hungry? Like, we can go with your Burger King and get some of their original chicken sandwiches, whatever. And both my wife and daughter were like, yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, I'm freaking starving. I haven't eaten anything since earlier. I was like, yeah, I haven't eaten anything at all today. So, of course, the kiddo, can I get a shake? Sure. Why not? It's like, what kind of shake you want? I don't know. What do they have? They have shakes. That's what they have. They have shakes. She's always partial to Oreo shake, though. McDonald's is Oreo McFlurry for her, you know. So, Just give me 1 second here. Just grabbing a quick drink of water really quick. Yeah, sometimes like trying to talk and you feel like, one, you feel like you might be congested, but then you also feel like your throat's dry, and you're like trying to clear. You know, like, oh, okay, let's go. So got them home, grabbed my stuff, took off, and you know, I got the truck, headed towards Lenexa to go pick my load up. I was hooked up to my load, had myself dispatched, and then but before leaving the hub to head towards St. Louis, I went ahead. I was, you know, texting back and forth with the wife. Like, we were both looking up adoptions in the local area around here. Like, hey, what other dogs are available to adopt without having to pay $4,000? And like, she was sending me listings, and I didn't notice where they were from. And I was looking at this one site, and because I wasn't paying attention to what she sent me, because I was also looking at listings as well. And it's the funniest thing, because like, you know, I checked out a couple of the ones that she sent me, but then of course I was going back and like, yeah, I'm searching as well, blah blah blah. We both ended up realizing we were on the same site. And first I saw this corgi that said it was a senior, like 13 or 14 years old, you know, and I'm like, well, what's going on with him? Like, why does he need to be right home? And of course, reading it going, you know, he'd be great as a single dog or single pet, you know, and like good with other animals and kids, but better, you know, he's a senior or whatever. And of course, you know, I told the wife about him, and she was, yeah, there's some red flags with that one. And I said, well, when I read the description about him, it says that he, like the owner that's rehoming him, it was his parents' dog, and I guess he lost both his parents pretty quick together, you know, at the same time or whatever. And I was like, well, that sucks. And she was like, oh man. I was like, yeah. I was like, you lost your dad, and you were a mess. You know, just imagine if you lost both your mom and your dad at the same time. I said, you would have been broken. She's like, hell yeah, I would have. I mean, I'm not saying it's ever easy, but of course, losing one parent, I'm sure, you know, the grieving process probably wouldn't be quite as crippling as losing both parents at once. So, or your whole family, like when they got the true crime stuff, where like the family annihilators, where the whole family gets killed or whatever. It's like, yeah. God willing, hopefully never have to deal with anything like that, you know. But so we were looking. So basically, like, you know, as far as that little guy, you know, we were both like, yeah. I mean, it's like, I know we're all about like rescuing. You know, we both have a think about like, hey, we totally would rescue an older dog that needs a home. But I said, but the other problem is he's so old. We'd probably only have him for like a year or two before he would die of old age. And that would suck, because you get attached just for him to die because he's an old dog already, you know. I was like, that really sucks, because then we're gonna give him a home, and then we're gonna feel the heartache of losing him within a short time frame. It's like, yeah, I don't know about that. So I kept looking, and I came across this listing for this female husky that I thought, based on the notes, I thought she was like a year old. But the notes on her, like, there was a picture. She's really beautiful dog, and like great with kids, great with other pets, all shots, blah blah blah, you know, all paperwork, whatever. And I'm like, huh. So yeah, this random box truck I'm coming up on keeps drifting off of the shoulder, and then they put on the shoulder, they put their I'm gonna try to get by him before he like wrecks into both of us. I think he's falling asleep, because going off of the shoulder, then putting his signal back, like his turn signal on to get off the shoulder back on the highway. I'm like, you don't have a signal to just get back on the road. I was like, dude, just don't wreck your vehicle, because you're drifting a lot. Maybe pull off at the Loves here in the next half mile and go get some coffee or something. Because he's totally drifted. You can tell he's like veer off a couple feet on the shoulder, and then jerk back on the lane, then veer off again, then jerk back on. I'm like, yeah, you need to pull over, dude. So looking at this female husky, and it's like great with kids, great with other pets, all paperwork, really sweet girl, blah blah blah. And I'm like, wow, okay. And most of the listings I saw were like adoption fee of like $250, which I was like, all right, well that's a hell of a lot better than $4,000. I was like, I'm fully willing to pay $250 to adopt a pet. Hell, I would have paid $500. If it was that corgi, if it was like $500, I would have been all right. Let's do it. Gonna be part of the family, and if they're only 8 weeks old, they're gonna be, they're really young, so that you got a long time with them. As long as nothing happens. $4,000, yeah, no, that wasn't gonna happen, Sam. But so most of the listing on this site that I was looking at, that I was sending my wife, were $250, and there were a bunch of good pups that I was coming across. When I came across the husky, it said adoption fee $25, and I saw all the specification, the information about her, and I was like, I sent her the listing. I said, oh my god, I was like, check this out, like check this girl out. She was like, I actually just sent you that like a little while back, and I just scrolled up and like, oh shit, I didn't realize that. But I was like, yeah, I was like, she looks amazing, and all the information on her, and it's only $25 to adopt her versus like $250, which I would have done $250, I don't care. She's like, I think we found one that we liked. I was like, yep. So my wife was like, should we apply? I was like, yeah, go for it. I was like, we don't know when they'll reply back, because it says it could take 14 days to 30 days for the owner to respond to you. So I said, go ahead and apply, and we'll see what happens. So she submitted the application to the owner, and then like literally the next day, I think it was within 24 hours, my wife wakes me up again an hour or two before, she had to go to work. And I had to get up at 3, and she was having to leave at 3 or 2:45 to get to work. So she woke me up like probably 1:45-ish. And, I was talking to her through the mask because, didn't take the CPAP off, still half asleep, but was retaining what she was saying. I was like, yeah, what's up? Like, oh, so the lady, Nala's the name of the pup. So Nala's owner called me today and asked if we're still interested in adopting Nala, and so I was like, oh, okay. It's like, so basically, they're not gonna charge us anything. They want us to spend that money on Nala. All right, well, that works. I'm willing to do that. It's like they have a kennel, like a crate or whatever that they're gonna give us. They have some stuff, like some food and treats and whatnot. They're gonna give us whatever, the little bag that they're gonna some of her stuff, like they have a leash and she has a collar and whatnot. Like, okay. So like, well, so we're planning to meet on Sunday at 2:30 on your day off, so that way you can, late enough that you can catch some sleep when you get home, and then we can go meet the owners and pick her up. And I was like, okay, yeah, sounds good. So literally, that's when I did that Storytime Friday, and I was closing at the end. That's when I said, like, yeah, there might be some updates for you guys, but like, don't want to say anything yet. So Sunday we went. We went in, like, I woke up like 1:45-ish. I could have sworn she had said at 2:30, but then she's waking me up at like 1:40 and saying, like, yeah, we gotta get going. So I've got to be here at 2. I was like, I thought you said 2:30. I was like, I didn't get to sleep till like 8:30, so it's like, still got about 5 hours probably, which was like, I was rested for the most part, kind of been used to it, But that's why whenever I do have an actual, like, a random, where I've had like a couple of days off, then all of a sudden I realize that I'm sleeping for like 14 hours every day that I'm off, because I'm always, it's like I'm permanently sleep deprived. So when I have time off, I just sleep. Probably what's going to be the first couple of days of my 2-week break is basically just sleeping a shit ton, and then after a couple of days I'll be like, I'm pretty rested. I've had like a couple days, full days worth of sleep in the last couple of days, so I'm good. But so we got up, we got in my truck and went out to go meet her, and we had our youngest with us. So we were at the park waiting, and when they drove by, we saw the husky on the owner's lap or whatever on the pasture side. Oh, I think that's him. So we met her and exchanged. We got the crate, the bed of the truck, and got her bag and whatnot. they were like, well, yeah, if it doesn't work out, please let us know. We'd rather us come back and pick her up and take her to the shelter or something. We're like, all right, well, we're gonna do everything we can to make it work, because that's one of the things. When I was trying to go on record with the wife, I was like, we've had to rehome animals before, because we had a husky about 12 years back or whatever, and it was literally when I at the beginning of my trucking career, so like I was out for like a week or two, and then I'd be home. We didn't have a backyard that was enclosed, and that rental house either. And the wife and kids were basically, they were struggling to walk the dog, to actually have the time to take care of him and stuff. And so we ended up deciding to go ahead and find a good home for him. I hated doing that because he'd been in the family for about 4 years at that point. And so went on record with the wife basically about like, look, we got to make this work. Like, I'm kind of against the idea, because I don't want to not be around, or I don't want to be around as little as I am right now. But you guys are saying it'll be fine. The kids are saying, well, we're gonna walk him. We're gonna, whatever dog we get, like we're gonna explore, whatever, and we'll take care of it. I was like, okay. So we went for her and stuff, brought her home, and here we are, because the pup, really sweet when we first met her. We were able to pet her, very energetic, and then we get her home, and we're trying to get her out of the back seat of the truck, and she's nipping at us. Like, we go to reach in and try to get her out of the, and she of course, she doesn't bite to like tear your hand up, but she bites and nips a little bit where we're like, oh, okay, what the fuck? Like, she was nipping at the wife a little bit more than she was me, and I don't even remember how we got her out. I think we had one of the kiddos' older sibling, the one that we got reacquainted with back there in Nashville. My wife's oldest tracked us down years back or whatever. They somehow got Nala out of the car or whatever. But when she was nipping at us, though, I was looking at the wife going, I don't know if this is gonna work, because like we haven't even gotten her out of the car into the house yet, and she's trying to bite us. And she's like, oh well, this is new, we just have to she has to get used to us, whatever. I'm like, okay. I was like, but honestly, like me, if I was by myself and I tried to adopt a dog and I'm getting the dog home and it starts biting me and trying to get out of the car, I might turn around and be like, I'm taking you back, because like I ain't gonna have you bite me, like fuck you, But they're like, the wife and the kids are all like, Dad, it's gonna be fine, like she'll be okay, like she's gonna get better, it's just gonna take time. I'm like, all right. I was like, but she tears into one of, like, not just like right now, it's just been the nips, and we're like, no, we're not biting, because otherwise she's really sweet. She'll come up and pet her, and I'm like, literally my routine now, why I said that I have to do something before I go to bed when I get home, is literally I get home, because we have her in the crate overnight on her pillow, so she sleeps in the crate at night right now, because we're not gonna have her just roaming around the house. The goal is to eventually be able to just have a pillow, like one of her pillows, like it's in the crate, but have the crate open with her bed in there, but have another pillow bed or whatever, like our room, and have it to where like our other husky, we had him for years. Literally, he would come in the bedroom with us, and we had a dog pillow on the floor for him, and he literally would come in to go to bed. He would go over to his pillow, collapse, and we'd go to bed. If he had to go to the bathroom or something, later, like that next morning, we'd wake up to him pacing back and forth. If we didn't get up and do it, all of a sudden he would pee on the floor, and we're like, no. But that's where we want to get to eventually. But right now, where it's like, all right, well, take her out really late at night to have her, do a walk or whatever, and then, it's give her treats, work on her and stuff, and then, get her back in her crate in her bed, You know, but so I get home in the morning and literally I go in there. First thing I do is like, hey, Dalla, come here, girl. You know, get her out of the crate. We have a harness for her that we leave on her. The one that we actually just replaced one because the day we bought her, or the day that we adopted her rather, because we didn't buy her, it was a few days past my birthday because born a little bit before Valentine's Day, and you know, I had to work all week, so I had to work my birthday, I had to work Valentine's Day, and then I was off on 15th, which I believe that's what Sunday was. And so I had planned to basically, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, and I expressed this to Rico about, yeah, I'm probably gonna take the whole fam out for like a birthday dinner or whatever. And he was like, "Are you paying for your own birthday dinner?" I'm like, "Yeah, because otherwise we're not gonna do anything probably." He's like, "Bro, that sucks." Like, he's like, "Bro, I stopped doing that like years ago because like it was always me hosting the parties and paying for all the stuff and whatever. People would just show up and have a good time and then leave." Like, yeah, I know, but you know, it's like I'd rather treat the fam, you know, and get out and do something together or whatever. I was like, yes, obviously, I would love to be the one. Hey, we're gonna, it's like date nights, for instance, like you know when it's like, yeah, you're the guy that you're paying the major bills. You know, when you take your spouse out, you're the one that's basically like, hey, like we're gonna go out to dinner at this nice restaurant because I want to treat your wife, and you're paying everything. So it's like, yeah, you know, it's like that's just how it is. You know, like I'm the major breadwinner, I make the bigger checks. So it's like, you know, I want to have special time with the fam, and in order to do so, I have to be the one that's doing it. So, because youngest is in school, otherwise I'm sure she would, you know, if she was like, let's say we're like 10 years in the future, and she was wildly successful, big money, whatever, I'm sure that, you know, I would like to think that my kids, when they're a lot older and actually have successful jobs or whatever, that, you know, there become times, hey, Dad, I want to take you out for your birthday. Oh, cool, all right. But right now, it's like, thankfully, I'm grateful to my parents because even though, yes, I had to treat my family here for my own birthday. So basically, I was like, we're going to Golden Corral because I was like, cost-wise, not too bad. There's like 6 or 7 of us that were there, including my grandson. So it was like, yeah, we're going to Golden Corral because I know if we go there for dinner, there's technically they have steak there at dinner, like steak and shrimp, all you can eat. But and then you get like when they cut it in half and give you like half a piece. They gave me the half a steak that had all the gristle on it. They didn't give me the part that actually was the lean part. So when I was trying to eat it, and I was like, I can't eat it. Like this part they gave me is like all fat and gristle over here. So I turned me off. So I didn't get any more steak. I just got like other stuff because I was like, oh my god, they have chicken and dumplings. I was like, cool. Like the kind I grew up with, and my mom always made. You know, the strip dumplings, not the drop dumplings. Like I grew up with the strip dumplings. It's like, oh man. But yeah, thankful to my parents because they, you know, when they asked like for like Christmas or my birthday, like, hey, what do you want? I'm like, gift card. And I usually give them like a local restaurant, like steakhouse, whatever. So I was like, yeah, local gift card to Texas Roadhouse would be awesome. Thank you. So means I will get a good steak, you know. I mean, the steaks at Golden's are good if you can get a good piece, because it's like, why didn't you just, you know, why you got this full steak, and then you cut this little 3-inch portion off for me? I'm like, I want the rest. Like, I want the whole thing, man. I'll be back. You know, might as well just give me a couple pieces. But there were a couple people in line. I felt weird being like, hey, can I get more than that? 'Cause I was like 3 bites. But so. After dinner, after we all ate at Golden, we were trying to get over to Petco before they closed, because we were talking about, like, do we wait till tomorrow to go to the pet store? Because, you know, my wife's oldest. I say the wife's oldest, even though my oldest is technically, they are full-blood siblings. They have the same dad, and then, of course, my wife is their mom. But I adopted my oldest, who's technically the younger sibling of this this adult we're talking about. I'm doing my best not to mention names and stuff. First name, we'll call it the oldest E, and my oldest A. There you go. So E and A are basically full-blood siblings. And then my youngest, or mine and my wife and I's youngest, is obviously like a half sibling to both of them. Because same mom, but then obviously me for bio dad and stuff. But I adopted A. I've been working on it for years, but I finally adopted him. Was able to because I did it all without an attorney, and that took forever. Because you're researching, trying to find out what documents you need, what you have to do, what information you need to submit, what fines and fees you got to pay, whatever. I don't even remember how I figured it out, but I managed to get everything put together, and I was like, I think I have a packet of information that we need to do it. My wife was like, really? I'm like, yeah, I was like, I got all this stuff filled out. There's a fee like $200 or a couple $100. I got the money put together. I just need to go to I'm gonna go to the court when I'm home. Because I was trying to figure that out while I was also over the road, coming home every week or two, whatever. So I was like, I'm gonna come home and take a week off. I'm gonna go ahead and file, or I'm gonna go ahead and file, and then we'll find out when there's gonna be a court date. So I paid the fee, submitted all the paperwork, got everything. Got a letter from the court like a month later, basically with the court date. So I took that week off so we could make a big thing of it. Went to court, got her adopted. I think she was like 11 or 12 when it finally happened. I came into her life when she was 5. And so that was fun, but so I guess to E, I guess I would be considered a step monster. Even though, I don't it's like technically we're family, but I don't try to be the parental role and the dad role, whatever. They already have parents, of course, but I'm still, still here, obviously. But so we went to Petco to get some stuff, because when we had Nala at home, she would get pet her, and she's real sweet, but we noticed that her hand, especially Erin, my wife or whatever, she would have her hand near her face and cut a foot away, and she would literally lunge for her hand and bite her. It wasn't a bite I just tried to rip your hand up, but it was a bite that still my wife was like, ow, no bite, no, we're not doing that, no. So not a bite she's trying to sink her teeth into us, but still a bite nonetheless. Whether it's and we can tell me and E and A are all talking about how she's nipping, but I'm not getting the impression that she wants to hurt us though. And E was like, yeah, she's holding back, something happened to her. We looked in the bag that they sent with her, because they said, oh yeah, we sent a training collar with you. I don't know, I have never seen a training collar like this. I pulled this thing, looked like a torture device. Big metal, long metal thing that had freaking barbs on one end. And I was like, I pulled that out of the bag and held it up in front of the wife and the kids, whatever. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And they were like, oh my god. And he was like, that's a fucking training collar. Man, those are freaking abusive. Those dig into the dog's neck. If you pull too hard, they could actually puncture. And I'm like, that's probably why. She's probably jerking her with that collar on or whatever. So anybody gets near her neck, so we're like, okay, So we were like, obviously we need to get some stuff for the dog to try to start working on her, fully new collar, get her a harness, get her a pet tag with so if she were to get loose and somebody finds her, they can track her down. So, they get her a pet bed, stuff like that. So we we had her in the crate at home. And when we went to dinner, then we went to the pet store afterwards, and we were looking. You know, we got like treats, and we got some toys, and like the little dog bone biscuits, the little milk bones, some other treats that she really has. I don't think like it's funny. We got these little treats and like little balls or whatever. I don't think she's eating them. I mean, maybe she's eating them, but I know like the treats I give her, she literally takes and literally devours. Like it's little milk bone biscuits with little dog biscuits. So they're like, yeah, you can probably use this. It's like, oh no, I'm gonna keep using the little milk bones because she actually takes those from me, and it's like an easy way for me to give her a treat that I know she's gonna eat. And I'm trying to instill positive reinforcement and, you know, build a positive relationship with her, especially since I'm not home all day, it's them, but I'm walking her when I get home, and then I walk her before I go to work, go out for a little bit, whatever. But so we got her a bunch of stuff, and like treats and a harness, and we got her one of the retractable leashes that I swear must be like 40 foot long, 30 or 40 feet long, because when I walk her, if I let it fully extend, she gets quite a ways ahead. You know, but then she kind of like goes off in the grass and explores. She's not like tugging me at all. As I'm like, I ain't walking fast for you. I'm walking my moderate pace. So if you want to walk fast, you're gonna be pulling on your harness. But the harness we got her initially was like, we thought extra large because we thought size wise, but yeah, that's probably what size she is, and it fits her, but it's a little bit big. So we've had a few occasions this week where like she'd come out of the crate and she would one of her paws would come out. So like I go to walk her in the morning, and it's like I've noticed the harness is like leaning off to the side of her, like the handle on top is on her side instead of on top. I'm like, what is going on with your harness? Like, what's going on? And then I'm like, oh wait, I think your paw has to go in this. So I'm trying to take things slow and try not to get bit, you know, try not to startle her. So I'll have like one hand underneath her neck, kind of petting her neck, petting her head, and while I'm maneuvering her paw to get back in this harness, and I can tell she looks off to the side, like, what are you doing? You know, but I'm like, it's okay, girl, just relax, it's okay, you know. Of course, she doesn't nip me when I'm doing that, because of course, like, I'm not surprising her or whatever. And so she's enjoying pets. And so I get her paw back in, I get her all straightened out, we go for a walk, we're good, you know. I think those walks, I don't think I took treats with us, you know, the first couple walks. You know, just went from the walk, came home, let her drink some water, went to go put her back in the crate because of course I'm going to bed and like nobody else is up yet. And but it was like I think it was Thursday. Yeah, because Friday when I got home I had to do something different. But so Thursday, after, you know, walking her a few mornings, like I just started doing the afternoon ones Thursday and Friday. So because I was like, I don't know if I have time before I go to work to take her on a walk, you know. But apparently, like I can walk the block pretty much. I don't know how far I'm walking is decently, you know. I know I'm sweating by the time I get back, but it's still short enough that I can do it even if I leave home at like 3:25, 3:20, 3:15, something like that. I could go do that walk, and it's like maybe 20 minutes, you know, because we're still walking at a decent pace, but it's not like fast either. But we get around that. That might be like a half mile, maybe, you know, mile or half mile, you know, to walk it or whatever. Because if you're walking at least 5 miles an hour, then you can probably figure 20 minutes you're gonna should make at least a mile. So at least a 20-minute walk. But so I took her out, and you know we went around, did the block or whatever. We make it everything's good. We make it all the way back, and I'm of course trying to like get her back in her crate, you know, so I can go to sleep, so she can lay down on her bed, and I can go back. I can go to the bedroom and go to sleep. And I mean, it was a learning experience for me, but probably for both of us, because you know I had an experience with our old husky 12 years back, where we never had him go after us, bite us, whatever. Like, he was always a really sweet boy too. But I did get bit by him once because he got a hold of a chicken bone. And of course I don't know if you guys are familiar, but chicken bones are not good for your pets to get because they splinter. So if they eat the bone can literally kill them. They'll splinter in their throat or stomach or whatever and puncture them. So I was like, oh shit, you have a chicken bone. So I went for the bone to get it away from him. And of course, I got the bone away from him, but he, of course, got aggressive with food, and he came at me and got me by the hand with his teeth, and his teeth did sink in on my hand. So I had these puncture marks from his teeth, and like he did that, and I had him in a headlock and pinned, like almost like body slams, but not really. I wasn't trying to hurt him, but got him in a headlock and pinned his ass to the floor within like 2 seconds. And he let go of my hand and then was trying to squirm, but of course I had him pinned, and he was like, got that look in his face, like he gave up, like, oh crap, oh man, I've screwed up, like I just attacked my dad, oh my god. And it was one of those pin him to the floor for like a minute or two until I could tell that he got the message. And I was like, are you good, or can I let you up? And he just kind of whimpered. And I was like, okay, so I just slowly let him up, and he started licking me or whatever, like, I'm sorry. I mean, I was bleeding all over the place at that point, but after that encounter, our old husky, I never had an incident with him again after that. But of course, I never let him get. We try to make sure to keep like regular food away from him, like out of his reach, so we wouldn't have to worry about him getting into stuff. But so this girl, I made the mistake of letting her, like I'm trying to maneuver her into the crate, and she went in the crate and laid down right away, but she still had the leash on. I was like, okay, no big deal. So she's laying down, on her, she's facing towards the front of the crate. Of course, like I'm approaching from the side, and I'm like, I have to unbutton your, or get the leash off. So I reach in to the crate, and she's got the little handle on her back, basically on the top of the harness, and that's where the leash is connected. And I reach in and I'm messing with that to try to disconnect that, and she snarls and turns around and rawr, and literally bites my hand or whatever. And of course I jump, and when she does that, I literally backhand her, like not a closed fist or anything, didn't swing to try to like knock her the fuck out, but she got popped, across the snout or whatever. And then she like was looking down, had her head kind of in the corner, but was doing the on edge, like, and I was like, shut up. I was like, you don't bite. We're not doing that. Bad girl. And then in order, because I was like, well, I stopped to get the fucking leash off you. So I grabbed the leash. I didn't reach in to grab it off her back end, but I grabbed the leash and I lifted her ass up off the, kind of like literally took control of her body right there, like lifted her up with the leash. She kind of gave up at that point, just let me do it. So her body came up off the ground. She kind of stood up a little bit. I unbuttoned the leash and let her lay back down. I went to close the gate, and of course she came over near where, like, from the inside where my hand was, latching the thing. She was all kind of partially snarling at the, where my hand was, as if like if I put my hand through there, she would have bit me. And I was like, lay the fuck down. Lay down. So that had me on, of course she laid down, and it's like, all right, like, you're gonna lay there and calm down, like, you're gonna stay in there, you're gonna, like, go to bed, go to sleep, calm down. Like, we're not fighting, that's very bad. So then I was a little thrown off because I'm trying to go to sleep, and of course, like, she fucking bit me, I was like, asking the wife, I was like, can we, like, because I was like, yeah, so this happened, blah, 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 we had a good walk, and then this happened. I was like, telling the wife, I was like, can we, because then she's been bit by her a couple times too, where they're trying to, like, adjust the harness, and then she went for her hand. But otherwise, she's all licky and loving. It's like, we don't know what your deal is. Like, if we have you, like I did one time, where you have her head under control, and, you're petting her or whatever, like, she doesn't bite you when you're, like, literally face to face with her, and you're petting her and stuff. It's like, good girl, you're such a sweet girl, blah, blah, blah. She's all, like, tongue out, licking you, whatever. But then if you have a hand, like, where you're not petting her, and your hand comes from the side, she does, We're like, no, be gentle. Or if you're going to, like, if your hands go near her belly to adjust the harness, and you're not already petting her face or whatever, she might go for your hand. So that's why when I adjust her harness, I got a hand around her, under her neck, and I'm like petting her, stroking her neck, whatever. And she's looking at my hand, doing what it's doing, but she's not biting me because I'm also keeping her preoccupied. So I get her paw in there or whatever. I'm like, see, I'm not trying to hurt you. So it's, so I don't know if she was kicked, because it's something about her belly. I've always heard that, like, if you got like animals that show you their belly, whatever, to get tummy scratches, that's a sign of trust. She doesn't do that yet, so I'm not sure what happened with her. Telling Dave about it, he's like, yeah, bro, she was totally abused. I'm like, yeah, I know. And we don't know what they did to her, but she has some issues. Obviously, most of the time we could be near her and pet her and take her for walks, and give her treats, whatever, and she's like sweet, wanting to play and stuff, but then she has her moments where she snarls and nips you, like light nip. Like when she bit my hand in the crate, I told Dave about it. I was like, she got me pretty good. Like, it was a pretty hard bite, but at the same time, it wasn't. Like, she could have totally. She's a medium-sized dog, so she could have totally probably tore my hand up. But when she bit, didn't draw blood, didn't puncture, and I told Dave, I said, it actually really didn't hurt as much. Like, I thought it was gonna hurt. When she got me, I thought, oh man, I half expected it to hurt, and then actually hurt really bad. But I was like, that actually didn't hurt that bad. Like, she didn't bite me that hard, but she did beat me kind of with a little ferocious thing. Like, I caught her off guard, or she was surprised, or she was hating you. So I was asking the wife, like, what do you like? Can we? Because I said, love. I said, if she keeps biting, I was like, I don't know if this is gonna work. Like, and I hate that because we spent $500 at the fucking pet store getting her stuff. I said, obviously, like, I don't want to rehome a dog, because we said, hey, we're gonna make this work. But I didn't anticipate that the owners didn't say anything about her having issues. It was just basically like, oh yeah, we don't want money from you guys, just spend that on Nala, whatever. Okay, cool. And we're like, yeah, there's the reason why you didn't charge us, probably because maybe you guys are getting rid of her because, she wasn't, because we think that the woman jerked her around quite a bit, and maybe that's why the whole issue with like her neck or whatever, and the collar. So we thought, we'll get her her own stuff. We'll put her in a harness instead of having a leash on a collar, yoinking her neck, and we'll get her in training. We've had dogs before, and I don't think we've ever had any of them professionally trained because we've never had like nipping issues or ones that were like clearly abused. But she's a sweet girl, but she has some issues because of whatever happened to her. So I was like, is that something that we can break her of? The biting or whatever. And my wife said, yeah, she can through training. I'm like, training can get rid of the biting? Like, yeah, you can train them, you can train the behavioral issues out of them. Get them to trust you, whatever. Like, you work on them so they trust you, so they don't get anxious around you, so that they don't bite you, and then they, if anything, they're more loving because they're bonded with you. I'm like, okay. I was like, what we bought the stuff at Petco. They have a premium membership with them where, you can get discounts on like veterinary services with them, good deals on like training classes and like grooming and stuff like that. So I was like, all right, yeah, let's do it. Like, because I was like, obviously, like, we're all in. Like, we want to. That's where the part of the topic for this week. Going all in commitment with your fur babies and stuff. That's part of why we hadn't adopted a dog for a while since we, didn't have our last one. It's because we were in an apartment and we had cats, and like especially with a dog, you need to be able to take them out. Whereas cats, you have litter boxes and food bowls and stuff. So literally, like cats are pretty self-reliant. Like they don't need you to physically take care of them. They just need you to make sure they're fed, have food and water, and they have their toilet. Otherwise, leave them the hell alone, unless they want attention. But man, I am running late today. I actually was running pretty early. I was gonna get to St. Louis at like 11, and then probably would have been out there by 11:30, 12 o'clock. But I went to Love's to fuel last night, and I had to switch pumps like twice because I went to like 2 pumps, and the screen was just blank. Like you'd say scan your fuel card, so of course I scan it, and then it would go blank, and I'd be like, okay, what's it doing? Like, so I didn't cancel a couple times. It would go back to the main screen, so I scan the fuel card again, it goes blank. So I like switched to another pump. It did the same thing, so I switched to a third one. And then that one, but when that one did the same thing, I went inside. I was like, yeah, I don't know what's going on with your pumps out there, but I'm trying to fuel. I'm on pump number whatever. Here's my card. Here's my Love's card to get points. Can you set me up? I mean, I was probably there for like an hour just fucking trying to fuel, and then I had to, of course, I was gonna get food and stuff. So it's like, I was pulling into St. Louis. I think it was like 12:15, 12:20. You know, in the morning, and of course, as I pull up to the gate, since I've never gotten there that late, St. Louis calls me. They're like, "Hey, it's so St. Louis Line Haul. Just check in on your ETA when you're gonna get here." Like, actually, I'm pulling into the gate now. I apologize. I was like, I got held up trying to get fuel earlier. Like, all their pumps were down, and it just took an hour and a half to do that and stuff. So like, otherwise I would have been here a lot earlier. Oh, no worries, it's all good. But yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, I'm pulling in right now. Like, all right, cool. Just checking on you. All right, cool. I was like, I feel bad enough as it is. But so I told the wife, we were talking about training earlier this week after having her for a couple days. You know, 'cause she's walking pretty good. She's come basically like we have to take her in the back of our house, like because when we come in the front, come into a landing and you can just go downstairs to the floor that where you come in from the garage. That's where like my oldest daughter's room is, and the game room, and we have a bathroom that has a laundry room. Or you could go upstairs, and that's where like the main floor is. You know, like the family room, the kitchen, dining room, and then down the hall to like my wife's like the master bed, our youngest room, and my grandson's room. You know, down the hallway and stuff. And for whatever reason, we try to bring him in the front, or bring her in the front door, and she doesn't. I don't know if she's dealt with wood floors, because she came in and would not go up or down the stairs, just wouldn't do it. And we're like, oh, okay. So we were able to bring her up the back stairs to the back deck and bring her in the back door. So that's literally what we do. We take her out the back to go out for her walks, and then we come back around the back of the house, come back up on the back deck. It was a little bit of work at first to get her to come up there, because with that harness, which we've now replaced, we actually got a different one that's got a smaller size and a non-pull one, so that one fits her better. Sounds like came today, so I haven't even seen it. I ordered it and basically was like, it looks like it was delivered in the mailbox, but I'm heading to work, so they went down and picked it up. But when she had the bigger harness on, though, we got one of the things we got was a run line, so we could took to the deck down near the ground, so we could put her out back or whatever and let her just enjoy the outdoors if we're not taking her on a walk. So like, she was out there on the run line, and I went out there and I was trying to bring her in, and I had a hold of the harness, and I was trying to get her to go upstairs before she backpedaled, and she slipped out of the freaking harness, and I was like, oh shit. Like, there are tags on the harness. If she runs, like, she has a microchip, but I thought, oh crap, I'm gonna have to chase into the dog. But she went like 10 feet away, and then I dumped out like, Alec, come here, and she came back over, and so I got a hold of her, and I went to go pick her up, and of course, like, she did the snarl and act like she was gonna bite me, but like nipped at me a little bit, but she, before she could do much, I had her off the ground, I picked her up, and she kind of surrendered to that, at that, okay, fine, crap. Picked her up, carried her inside, and I was like, hey, Zoe, help me with Nala here, because she slipped her harness. But so after doing that, and that's part of why, when I thought about what I should do for a topic this week, it's kind of why I thought this would be a good topic, was because there's already, we've only had her, like, technically tomorrow will be a week, and already so much to talk about with her. About her. So, so after the whole me trying to get the leash off her in the crate and get bit, and then basically like do a little like dominance stare down with her, like lay down, like we don't bite. You know, after that you can tell that like I made an impression, because like instead of coming right up to like when I'm in the house and I'm not trying to get her on the leash, because if I have the leash she'll come over to me like, oh, I'm gonna go for a walk. Okay, yeah, I'll come to you, Dad. I'll come to you. But if I don't have the leash and I'm just like, nah, come here, you know, trying to kneel down and so I can pet her, she'll come within 3 feet and then turn around and walk away like, I don't know about this. I'm like, yeah, because you got popped. You got popped because you bit. So don't bite and you won't get popped. I was like, I didn't smack you to hurt you, but you did get popped. You know. And she didn't like it because she was growling at me afterwards. I'm like, you can growl all you want. Like, you bite me, I'm gonna smack you. Not hard. Like, I you know, felt bad about having doing it initially. You know, in the group chat, I was like, so this happened. And we had a good walk, but then I was trying to take her leash off, reaching into the crate, which obviously I'm not gonna do again. And she got me pretty good, but she also got a backhand afterwards. She was not happy about it, but I was like, no, like I'm asserting my dominance over you. Like, you will not bite your family members here. If you keep biting, you're gonna go somewhere else. But you know, she has her majority of the moments where she's really sweet, so that's why we're like, I don't think it's that she's mean. I don't think that she wants to bite us. I think that there's just something like she sees our hand either reaching under her without us like patting her face or something, and she reacts. You know. So what I started doing is, like, the next day, literally, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take her out. I'm gonna bring treats, like a half dozen little milk bones with me. Give her a treat when I get her out of the crate, and I give her a couple treats while we're out there on the walk. Randomly, I put my hand out, give her the open palm. You know, she'll take it out of your hand. Take it out of your hand, gentle. You know, like that. You know. And I'm constantly, like, when she's peeing everywhere, I'm like, good girl, you know, such a good girl. Such a nice girl. Yeah, we don't bite. But took her out, gave her a couple treats while we were doing our walk, made it back, got her in the door, and, you know, of course, sat in the kitchen for a minute, let her, like, hang out, still on the leash, but went over, drank a lot of water, and then, all right, let's go over to your kennel. So made our way to the kennel. This time I get her near the kennel, like where she's about to go in, and I'm like, hold on, grab a hold of the handle, and I take the leash off her, and she goes in the kennel. And I toss the milk bone on the pillow for on her bed or whatever. So she starts to eat that as I'm closing the little gate. By the time I have it closed, she's already eaten the milk bone. So I put 2 more down in there through the top of the crate that fell onto the pillow. Of course, she eats those. I'm like, good girl, now, good girl, nice girl. Yeah, we did good today, Dallas. But and then in the group chat, I was like, yeah, so we had better morning this morning. You know, like gave her a couple treats on the walk, gave her 2 treats when I got her back in the crate, whatever, to kind of be like a little more positive, some positive reinforcement there. Have a positive experience, not have any moments where she snarled at me or whatever. She got lots of treats, got lots of pets, you know. And then got up that afternoon and took her on an afternoon walk before work. Did the same thing, couple treats on the walk. And but thankfully, like, my kiddos were actually out in the room, in the main room, so like I didn't have to put her in the crate. I literally gave her treats when we came in, and she drank water, and I was able to just take her off the leash and let her walk around, because there's people that were actually upstairs that could hang out with her. And then this morning, I had to basically do did the same thing, you know, had treats before, when I first got her out of the crate, then, you know, because I didn't want her to really try to, you know, have the positive experiences where she'll go ahead and come up to me and not be afraid because of, like, well, I got popped. So, like, I know I bit him, but I got popped. Yeah, don't bite and you won't get smacked. You know, it's like, I'm not going to hit you with a fist or anything, you know, but I am, you know, you're going to get popped on the nose if you bite, because we're going to teach you that that's not, you know. But, you know, had another good morning, you know, went out for the walk. She was whining a lot before. Actually, when I got up this afternoon, and after having a good morning with her and getting her back in the crate, I give her some treats after she got back in the crate, having a good, positive morning and a nice long walk and whatever. When I got up, she was whining a lot in the crate, and like my oldest was downstairs. My youngest, she came out of her room, and she's like, yeah, she's whining quite a bit. I took her out early this afternoon for like a 45-minute or hour walk, and it was pretty good. Like, okay, cool. So I let her out, going, hey, all right, now let's go for a walk, and immediately she like went over to her water bowl and like drank the entire bowl of water, like literally just slurped the whole thing. Until like within like 30 seconds of her drinking, her bowl's empty. So of course I fill a tall water bottle and I fill her bowl back up. I'm like, okay, was that why you were whining? Because you're thirsty as hell? I was like, I'm sorry, girl. I was like, all right, let's get your leash out. Let's go for a walk. Grab a couple milk bones. Did the same thing. Give her treats on the walk. Made it back. And like none of the kids were out there, so of course I was, all right, we're gonna go back in the crate for right now because Dad has to go to work, and no one's out here. So for right now, you're gonna go back on your bed. A couple treats after getting her in the crate or whatever. She was laying down, and so like getting my stuff together, and talking to Nala from across the room with my youngest in the kitchen now because I had groceries being delivered as well. So I was like, "Good girl, Nala. Yeah, like we don't bite, Nala. Like biting bad, but licking is good." And of course, my kiddo in the kitchen goes, "We love your licks." I was like, "Yep, we definitely prefer those from bites. Like you can lick us all you want. You cannot bite us all you want, though. Like we're not gonna go for that." So my wife had sent the Amazon listing with a better harness. It's like a no pull, and she's like, I figured we go for the medium or go for a large. That should fit her because the extra large is just a little bit too big. Like we tightened it all we can, it's still loose on her a little bit. But the large should be fine. It should fit her perfectly. I'm like, okay. So I was like, well, send me the listing and I'll go ahead and order it when I get to St. Louis. And so ordered it. It arrived today, and my kiddo, after I left, I got the alert saying that Amazon delivered it in the mailbox, the community mailbox. I'm like, why didn't they drop it here? Like, why did they put it in the mailbox? Okay, I was like, well, now I can't get it because I have to go to work. So my kiddo, she, I guess took her on a walk later on in the day a little bit, like an hour or two later. She was so went on a 45-minute walk with Nala, whatever. We got the mail, and she said there's like an incident where like some people around our area, some of the houses that let their dogs out without leashes. And so I've seen a couple of them where I'm walking by with Nala, and I hear like a little from like a little distance away, and we look over this big ass dog that's at the edge of a property line from like half a block away, but is clearly looking at us, and I just like, kind of guide, our pup the other direction. But now, come on, let's go this way. Because they're like, I ain't fucking with other dogs, because they're probably, especially if two dogs, if the dog comes for our dog, I'm gonna probably try to do what I can to get between them and protect her. Now it sounds like when my kiddo took Nal out on a walk after I came to work, she posted in the group chat basically like, yeah, I took Nala for a walk and this dog kept charging at us from like a block away or whatever. And she was, I tried, I tried to steer Nala, the other direction to try to see, and it's like, but the dog got really close to us, and then the owner screamed at him and called him back. And I was like, oh man. I was like, yeah. I was like, I'll admit, like, I would never deliberately hurt or kill another animal, like a dog or whatever, unless it was a self-defense. Like, if a dog is clearly coming at me to do some damage, then, when I was out on a workers' comp, when I first started with FedEx, and I was not in the tractor trailer, I was doing the package stuff. I was at somebody's house that I'd been there for a dozen times, but I never knew they had a big ass dog on their property, because it was a big property, until I was delivering packages one day, pulled their 2-mile long driveway, and I'm getting the package out of the back of the box truck, and I hear like a very low rrr. I'm like, oh shit, where the fuck is that? And I remember looking all around, going, there's no beware of dog signs, no run lines, no signs of anything that would tell you there's a dog there. And I looked towards the back of the backyard from where I'm at, and of course that's what I'm like. I saw that there was a very, very big, like, mastiff, like, horse-sized dog. I was like, oh crap. Like, oh crap, yeah, I gotta get out of here. Put the packages by the mailbox and started to run back to the truck. And of course, that's when the owner came running. Oh my god, are you okay? Are you okay? I forgot to put the dog up. I'm so sorry. I was like, yeah, I'm fine. He's back there. I'm avoiding him. I'm leaving him alone. He's leaving me alone. She's like, oh, cool. Maybe he's not going to do anything this time. I'm like, this time? So then she and I were standing there talking. And, just for like a minute or two. And, like, I remember, I can still see it in my mind the way it happened. Standing there talking, I've got the truck to my back. And she's in front of me, whatever. And, all of a sudden, this big beast, whatever, comes barreling around behind her, right towards me. And of course, I was like, "Oh crap!" Because I saw him before she realized that the dog was coming. I turned sideways, put my arm out, kind of like my elbow, whatever, to try to get into an offensive, whatever. He got a hold of my arm and started dragging me across the yard. And all the while, the owner's like. Not really punching at the dog, but she's swinging at him, trying to be like, let go, no, let go. And I was like kicking at the dog, trying to get him to let me go. Finally, she gets him off me, and I didn't even stay and chat. I just kind of turned around, ran back to the truck, and drove off. Got like down near the end of the driveway, and I look over, and my arm's all bleeding because he punctured. There's multiple punctures on my arm. And I messaged my boss at the time, said, so this just happened. He goes, are you okay? And I was like, I think I'm a jock. And I laugh about it now, even though I still kind of get that, where your eyes water because you remember exactly how you felt emotionally, physically, the pain of it, the shock, the, oh my god, I don't know what just happened. I can't believe that just happened. So I was like, I think I'm a jock because, I feel surprisingly okay right now, but at the same time, I'm not. He goes, I need you to go. He's like, is there a truck stop nearby that you can go down to and check yourself out and see how bad, see how bad it is? I was like, yeah, there's a truck stop half a mile down the road. I'll go down there, go in the bathroom, and I'll let you know. Send him a photo, multiple puncture marks. I had a big coat on too, so he punctured the coat, punctured my arm, through my sleeve and everything. And I turned sideways and showed a picture in the mirror where he had like 4 deep punctures on my arm. Still blood flowing from him. Took a picture of that, and I sent to him, and he's like, I'm gonna send a couple guys out to take your packages off you. I need you to go get seen. I was like, okay. But so even in that, I didn't, necessarily do anything to try to out of defense, try to do anything to kill the dog. Mainly because the owner got the dog off me, I think. But if it's a dog where there's no, if there's nobody to pull a dog off you, whatever, that dog is at least being incapacitated. Gonna at least do something to the dog to either knock it out, or something, or defend myself in a way that the dog decides it's not worth coming back at me. I had a few of those dogs too, where you'd go to deliver a package and I had must have been a Rottweiler or something, but it started running circles, figure 8 circles around me, really rapidly. And then as it came towards you, it would charge at you, and of course, I would put my foot up, kind of karate stance, towards it, because it would run at me, like it was gonna try to bite, but I was had my boot up in its face, fuck you, Until it finally gave up, and I was like, I'm not gonna be an easy target for you. So I was like, you're not gonna get a piece out of me without me getting a piece out of you too. So anyway, so trying to do everything we can with the husky girl, and I actually went ahead and ordered that harness, so my kiddo put that on her today. I'm like, does it fit her better? She goes, yeah, it fits her pretty good. And there's actually little locks on the clasps or whatever. When you're tired trying to say like a word, like, all right, I'm trying to like not stutter this word. But so she's got the new harness on. She's gone on a couple walks earlier today and stuff. And I looked up training on the Petco app or whatever using our new membership. And it's like some of the ones that you get a deal on are like group training where they get them with other dogs, but then they have one-on-one. And I told my wife, I said, I think we need to do like one of the sessions, like you get like 4 or 6 one-on-one sessions to start working on the basics and stuff. Because like we realized she's like 2.5 years old. We've gotten her to sit, but that's basically with like come doesn't like she will eventually. It's not because she's responding to the command. It's because hey, give her a little leash tug. Like, now come here. But we figure maybe with the behavioral stuff, especially training, probably be a good idea. But then teach her the basic commands as well, and get her to work on her anxiety so she doesn't nip at us if we're reaching for her belly or whatever. And it's like $250 for a set of 4. So I told the wife, I said, I'm gonna go ahead and I was like, should I go ahead and get training started? We'll schedule for the Sunday when I'm off. She's like, yeah, that'd be good. And it's funny because we have technically this Sunday is the company I drive for. They're doing what they call post-peak party. So instead of a holiday party, this is basically their version of a holiday party. Everybody, all the workers invited and all this stuff. Hold on a second, just making my way into the gate here. Here at Linux, time to I'm seeing flurries too. I wonder if we're actually I heard there's like a small percentage of it's gonna snow a little bit, but that's going on this Sunday, and of course with everything we got going on, I told the wife, I was like, I want to go to the party, but at the same time it's my only day off. And I was like, I really don't. Like last weekend, I didn't even feel like I had Sunday fully off, didn't have time to relax because we were busy the entire day. Did the birthday dinner, adopted the dog, went to Petco. By the time I got back, I probably had like 2 or 3 hours and kind of hung out. So, I mean, this Sunday still got stuff planned, but I was like, I'd rather hang out with you guys, get Alan to training or something, and actually do what we need to do. So, do what we gotta do and stuff. So she's like, yeah, I hear you. I was like, that. Plus, I could still take the wife out somewhere to eat or whatever, like go get the Japanese steakhouse or something. So still have a good, enjoyable night, but actually take care of some stuff that we need to do. And spend time with the pup, do something important like working on getting the first training session and stuff to work on her. So that's scheduled for Sunday, and got one more day since tonight is technically my Friday. So, but I'm committed. Because honestly, it's one of those I'm torn because the whole nipping and the fact that I got bit or whatever. It's like I love her. She's part of the family already. We've already we've already bonded with her and stuff. But it's the biting or the nipping that I'm like, I'm of course, I worry about. And that's where my wife's like, well, that like training will fix that. Like we can work that out of her. We can get her to be more like a service animal, where she's not afraid of us. And she'll be, if anything, be protective and gentle and whatnot. I'm like, okay. I was like, we'll try it, especially because the pet store purchase was $500 fucking. I was like, that would suck to spend that kind of money on getting supplies and stuff to try to, make your new fur kid, your fur baby, feel at home, and then have to like rehome them and be like, well, shit. But I have had some pleasant walks or whatever, and she's gotten her in the crate, gave her treats, and she's been fine. So it's like there's just that anxiety, you know, that they did something to her. They seem like nice enough people, but something happened. Like, so they treat her a certain way or whatever, that she has some issues. So it's like, yeah, we're gonna see if we can get her into training and, you know, work on her and stuff. And the kids are, and I was up front with my kids. I was like, look, like, and actually, you know what? Just give me 1 sec here. I was actually gonna try to end this recording, you know, since I'm here at the hub, but I figure I'll do what I did like one time, and I will just basically, you know, be a brief pause for you guys, but it'll be like maybe 10 minutes for me, so I'll be right back. Hold on 1 second. And we're back. Appreciate you guys all hanging in there with me. Just making my way out of the gate on my way back to Kansas City. Had to go and fill up the water bottle and hit the bathroom really quick and take off because it's already like 5:45. And I'm like, man, running late. Hopefully I can make better time tonight. Because I mean, now that I fuel and don't have to worry about fueling, I just get there at a decent time. Try not to procrastinate too much and take off to come back, so I can get home on Sunday fairly early and actually get some decent sleep before having to get up. And thankfully, the pub's training is actually scheduled for like 4:45, so it's not like I have to get up early. But I don't want to sleep until 3 or 4 to then go to the training. I want to get up, noonish, try to enjoy the day a little bit, you know. Told the wife I wanted to take her on a date night to the Japanese steakhouse or whatever. It's been probably a month or so since we went. And she said, oh, cool. Oh yeah, go to Nala's appointment. You know, you and I go to dinner. Maybe we'll get pizzas for the kids and the grandkid or whatever. She goes, oh, that sounds good. The holiday party, if we were going, would be like we'd have to be there by like 5:30, and it's like I was like, yeah, I don't really feel like going. I want to go, but I don't want to go because like I said, there's gonna be like 80 people there, and I'm like, yeah. I do what I do out here on the road, partially because I like being just me in my office here, you know. I'm not really a big crowd kind of guy, you know. But anyway, so basically, as far as the topic for this week, you know, all in commitment on your fur kiddos, your fur babies. It's like, you know, they become family pretty quick. Like, hell, even like if I were to adopt like a ferret, you know, because I had ferrets when I was a kid. We had some ferrets in the house. I loved them. I thought they were awesome. Like the fact that they're like never bit you. You know, they would run around and play. Like there's like these ferret balls that you could get, like hamster balls, kind of. Put them in the big ball, whatever, and they'd roll all around the house. But like them or hamsters or whatever, like even though the animals that don't last, they don't live too long, they're still kind of like family too, you know. But of course they die over a short period of time or whatever, and it's like, man. That's the only problem I have with like big dogs. It's weird that big dogs live shorter lifespans than little dogs. Like you would think bigger dogs would have a little bit longer life, or at least the same length of life, but they're bigger. They might live 10 to 12 years, but you got little dogs that live like 17 years or something. I don't get it. I don't know why, but maybe less stress on the body and the joints because they're small, so they don't have all this weight on their feet and whatnot, you know. But I'll, just basically doing what I can and get things scheduled, paid for her. She's got 4 sessions. Would have done 6, but I thought it was 4 or 6 for the same cost. But when I selected 6, it went from $250 to like $340. I was like, never mind. I was like, we'll do 4 right now. told the wife that I said my thought process is that we get her into like one-on-one training first, work on her with that to start, teaching her some stuff, maybe hopefully get out of the nipping phase or whatever. I said once we got some training under her belt, maybe then we start working with her with other dogs as well, so that way we can have her around other dogs and she's good. But she's surprisingly, like, she's pretty good with our cats. Like, 2 of our cats basically just sprint out of the room whenever she comes around, but our middle cat, the one that kind of replaced our, or that, came in the picture when we lost our cat, Ginger. Ginger was basically, she grew up with our husky. Like she and Tegan would lay around together and stuff, like be on the same pillow. We have pictures of our big ass husky laying on his sleeping pillow on his little bed, or his big bed, I guess, with this itty bitty little orange kitten on the pillow with him, like right next to him. And we're like, oh my god, we're like, please don't kill the cat. But they would play and he'd protect her or whatever, and it's like, so when we lost her, when she died of old age or whatever, got her liver failure or whatever when she was like 11. Then we got Binks, our all black cat. Binks, you know what they say? It's like you hear them, I don't know if you guys have heard it, but they've said that like when you lose, a fur baby, that's like, yeah, they go to the Rainbow Bridge or whatever, but that they kind of guide you to the next, like when you're looking to adopt another pet, because you obviously, like, your heart's empty, got a hole in it because you lost part of your family. Then sometimes the one that you lost guides you towards the next one. So it's like, it's funny, like we adopted Binks. She has a lot of the same traits that this Ginger did. And then we lost the next oldest, because it was Ginger, then Coconut, and then Truffles, our tuxedo cat, was our youngest. But now Truffles is the oldest, and Binks is the middle child. And now then we got, of course, then we lost Coconut after Ginger, and then we got Sage, our all gray cat, and she kind of exhibits some of the same traits like Coconut did. But Binks has already walked in the kitchen, like both the new girl, Nala, and Binks have walked in the kitchen and literally touched noses and then walked their separate directions. And I was like, I think the cats will be fine, because I'm not seeing any aggression from the husky towards the cats, except for when Binks, when she first met her, she sprinted out of the room, and of course Nala was like, almost got that play, went to try to run after her. We had to like, nope. But now it's like they just kind of look at each other, and Binks still kind of keeps her distance a little bit, but they've got within a couple feet, look at each other and keep doing their stuff. And I'm like, yeah, they're not gonna fuck with each other. They're good. It's funny, our gray cat she usually, up before we got the dog, she'd sleep in the bedroom, but there'd be times where she'd meow at the door because she wanted to be let out, or she'd be outside, she'd meow wanting to be let in the room. And we're like, and it's a high-pitched meow that you can't, like, you'll be in a deep sleep, and that meow will cut right through it. High-pitched meow, we're like, Sage, shut up, I'm trying to sleep. Now, because she knows there's a dog out there, now she doesn't meow to get out of the door. She stays in the room, goes in the cat tower. We have like a litter box and food and water in there, or in the closet. So it's like the cats can do what they gotta do, but she doesn't try to get out of the room. It's like, I'm safe in here. I'm like, yeah, until we get to the point where the dog is comfortable and trained, and we can have her on her bed in the bedroom. And then Sage would be pissed at us then, because how dare you bring the dog in here? Well, we gotta wait for that. We're told, like, the first couple of days are a little bit of an adjustment, and then the first 3 or 4 weeks, basically them getting used to you and stuff. And I'm like, well, we've had her for a week, and she's better. The walks are going pretty good. She runs right up the stairs when we come back to come back in the back door or whatever. The kiddo, when she said she took her out for a walk or whatever, or they put her outside for a little bit to give her some outside time, and then they brought her in, and even though she was outside. When she came in, she peed on the floor, and she was like, my daughter was like, man, she was outside and she still peed on the floor. And I was like, well, I mean, she did drink that whole bowl of water in like 2 seconds. So I was like, I mean, yeah, well, she peed because, you know, it's not really the, you know, I'm going to stop and pee, let it all out. No, she'll pee, but then we'll be going on our walk and she'll walk into places. And it's because it's like we were used to, like, our husky that we had before was a boy dog. So everywhere he peed, it was leg lifts. With her, she's, you know, she squats. It looks like I'm thinking she's pooping because, you know, she squats, but it's real quick. Like, squat down, you'll see her pee, and then she'll stand back up. And it's like, oh, okay, she's peeing. It's like, good girl. Versus, like, when you squat, you kind of hunch over because she's pooping. I'm like, oh, cool, all right, she's going potty. All right, good girl. But I mean, she drank a lot before the walk, and it was only like maybe like a 15-20 minute walk, so it's like probably didn't get out all of that water she drank. So it's like, but we're making the effort, you know. But what I was gonna say before, I had to pause for about 15 minutes or 10 minutes to get the trailer dropped and you know, roll out of the hub. Was, you know, especially my oldest has a tendency to not really respond to text messages. It drives me fucking nuts. Because, like, you know, if you're not hearing from somebody and you're asking questions or whatever, like, hey, what about such and such, or how are you doing over here, or have you found a job yet, whatever, you know. But then they don't respond. It's like, are you gonna answer my question? Like, what's going on? You know, but I hadn't seen because I'm not there, you know, like I'm only see her in the morning and I see her before I go to work. As far as the pup, you know. And I know I'm having to put her back in the crate when I get back in the morning, you know, because I can't leave her out because everybody's asleep. So give her go on the log, drink some water, eat some food, whatever, get her back in her kennel. All right, now I'll lay down, you know, everybody will be up. Like, Dad's gotta go to sleep, you know, love you, girl, you know. And so then I was like, I said in the group chat, I was like, hey kids, like, I was like, really want Nala to work out. I was like, but obviously Mom and I need your help. Like, we can do it by ourselves if we have to. But part of why we adopted her was, you know, because you guys insisted on, like, well, we're going to take her for walks. We're going to go constantly be out and about with her, take her outside. We're like, okay. I was like, we'll do it. Like, my wife and I will do what we have to do if we have, you know. Like, if she has to be crated for long periods of time before, like, Aaron and I can end up taking her out on long walks or whatever, then that's just what we have to do. Or like, hell, I'll even hire actual dog walkers if I have to just show up twice a day or something at least to give us a little bit more help, you know. So I'm looking forward to my 2 weeks off because I'm literally going to be home and be able to see her, like, consistently for 2 weeks. Which that'll help with the bonding, I'm sure, because I won't be gone working and then only see her for a little bit, see her each day, whatever. But with the kids, I was like, we need your help. Like, you know, Mom and I, you know, don't want to do this by ourselves. You know, like, we're a team, so it's like, you know, if you guys could, I was like, I don't want her to stay in the crate all the time. You know, so if you guys could be out there hanging out with her, so she could be out and about, or, you know, walking her or whatever. But then I followed it up with, and I acknowledge the fact that I am not there as much as I'd like to be, so I might not see what's actually happening. Like, if you guys are hanging out with her, that's great. I was like, say something in the chat or post pictures of what you guys are doing. Like, hey, look, this Nala's out here. You know, we're just out here hanging out. This is just Nala, you know, tongue out, whatever. But, oh, that's adorable. Okay. Or that she's asleep on the floor. So I was like, actually, like, say something in the chat that just, like, you know, just hung out with Nala today. Took her on a long walk. She pooped and peed, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, cool. So, like, both kids have actually, I've noticed they've, you know, when I took her on the walk the other afternoon and I brought her back in, and both my kids were actually in that front room, so I was like, cool, since you guys are here, I can leave her out, right? Like, yeah, just let her walk around. Like, okay. I was like, cool. I was like, that way I don't have to put her in the crate. gave her a treat, let her drink water. I'm like, all right, now, see you later. She would after having her off the leash, she wouldn't come too close to me because, of course, that was the morning that she got disciplined for biting me. But I think I'm working on that. Cause gave her a couple treats, have her randomly during the walk, like, now come here, I have the treat in my hand. And she'll come up to me and get a treat. So now I think we're getting back to, all right, I think I might be okay with you again, Dad. I'm like, yeah, well, don't bite me, or we'll be cool. It's like, if you chop down to where you're gonna drop blood, you're gonna get your ass pinned to the floor like the other one did. But as long as we understand each other, like, you don't bite us. Like I mentioned to you guys earlier, that when walking out the door, pretty sure it was yesterday actually, like getting ready to walk out the door, and I was like looking over towards the crate, like, Nala, like, I love you, like, you're a good girl, you're a nice girl, like, we don't bite, like, biting is bad, licking is good. And then my kiddo in the background, we love your licks. I was like, yep, we do. I was like, I'll take the licks over the bites any day, especially because she doesn't do it like. It's like it's hard to describe, but it's almost like when she does bite, it's like she doesn't want to bite. Like, she doesn't get us really hard, and she does it, and then sometimes, like, right after she dips, almost like she's licking her after. Like, I'm sorry. It's like, okay, So then if she does it with Aaron and the kids when I'm at work. The other day it was like, oh yeah, we were trying to adjust her harness, and she full on attacked Mom's hand or whatever. So now she's in timeout, back on her bed in the crate. I'm like, oh wow, okay, That's one of the times I was like, so training will fix her of this, you think? She's like, yeah, I think so. I'm like, okay. I was like, well, then we'll do it. We'll do these trainings, and if it's still, because I saw some other trainings online where it's like you can like board them in a kennel, and it's where you board them and they train them. But I'm like, yeah, but I'm pretty sure part of what you want to do when you're training your dog to try to like get them out of behavioral habits, things that are wrong with them, like nipping or biting or whatever, is that you want to do it as a family unit, not have somebody else train your dog, because you want to be able to, oh, okay, I can do this, or I can motion like this and lay down, sit, like look up here so I can adjust your thing so you're not gonna nip me or whatever. So I'm willing to go the expensive route and have the ones that come to your home to train one-on-one, but it's like, well, we'll try the Petco training stuff, trainers first, to see if we can start making progress. I don't know if my wife's actually taking her out on walks yet. I think she's just taking her out back to put her on the run line to give her some outside time. And she said, well, when we get her trained, I want to ask the trainer some questions, because like I want to get her to the point where, that's what she said. She's like, I want to get her to the point where we can go out on walks and she'll walk beside you, because that would make me feel more comfortable taking her out on walks, because I don't want to take her out and have her try to pull away. I'm like, she's not really that bad on walks. Like, she does pull a little bit, but then she comes back near you, and I was like, I just bring half a dozen treats with me, and I let her roam a little bit away from me. But then if there's other dogs or people, I'm like, then I'm reeling her in a little bit to have her close to me, so that way I can be like, hey, let's go this way, let's go away from these people, or away from that dog over there that's randomly off the leash. So. But, I know we've been on this episode for a while, so I apologize, but hope you guys enjoyed it, though, because I know there's probably other people, probably lots of y'all out there that have probably been through the same thing, where you adopted a dog that you didn't know. You learned very quickly that it had abuse, that something happened, and I think I had one dog in the past that I did actually turn around and, like, I think I adopted it from a shelter, and the dog was nice in the shelter, and we got home, the fucking dog bit me. Like, literally bit me when we got home. It bit me twice. I was like, yeah, you're going back. They're like, the shelter actually came and picked it back up. I said, yeah, he's tore my hand a couple times. And they're like, oh, we're so sorry. Yeah, we'll come get him. I was like, it sucks, because he was nice when I met him in the shelter, but now he's like growling and he's all like mean. I'm afraid to go near him. So I'm pretty sure that dog got put down. And it's like, I was like, we've actually gotten rid of cats in the past, or at least a cat not gotten rid of, but rehomed. I think we had one. I had one cat. I was a lot younger. That I think it was actually with. Yeah, it was with my first wife actually. She had a cat when I met her, and I don't even remember the cat's name, but I remember that cat hated my guts. Like literally, he'd walk in the, like, she's purring and stuff with my ex. I walk in the room. I mean, obviously, that's the thing that I've had a couple cats, like, with my ex, and then a couple cats with my wife and kids now, that like Coconut, for instance, like she didn't growl or hiss or, like try to like tear me up or whatever, but she very clearly, there was something had happened to her with the previous owner that was a guy. So, like, I could pick her up, pet her, and love on her and stuff, but she otherwise didn't really care for me that much. Like, she tried to keep her distance. I was like, Coconut, I'm not gonna hurt you. But there were cats with my ex that I'd walk in the room and she would growl and hiss and try to claw me or whatever. And I think it came to a point where, like, I just avoided her. I said, I'd walk in the room, she'd growl and hiss. And I'd just look at her and give her the finger, like, fuck you. Growling at me, I fucking feed you, little bitch, So he tried to talk all demeaning to the cat or whatever, and it just growls and hisses some more. I'm like, shut up. I'm like, I'm not even touching you. But it came to a point where my ex, I guess the cat, was angry enough at me for having shown my presence that she tore her hand completely up. Like, she's petting her, she never reacted to her that way, and she scratched her the hell up. Hand was bleeding everywhere. She's like, so it was actually her idea. Is like, well, we have to take her to the humane society because, like, obviously, like she can't deal with this. Like, she's out of control. And I was like, I've been saying that for the past 2 years, but she's your cat, so I wasn't gonna say no. Like, she's never torn my hand up like this, so I don't know what's wrong with her. I'm like, well, we'll do whatever you want to do. So I always hate rehoming. Me and my wife, we're of the belief, that's how we believe, that when you adopt a pet, that it's for life. That you have them for their whole life. Like, they're only a part of your life, but you're their whole life because of the fact that they only have such short lifespans. And so basically, you have them until they die, and it sucks when they leave. But so the fact that Nala, yeah, she's had her nippy moments. For the most part, she's also been like, where she'll come up to you and get petted, be licking you and stuff, and it's like, so we're all like, well, she's a very sweet girl. She just, for whatever reason, she's nipping whenever you reach for her at a certain angle, or we try to get her out of the car when we brought her home, and she was going for our hand, and we're like, why? Like, I wouldn't even want to get out of the car. That's the other thing I told the wife. I said, I'm a little nervous about taking her to the training because we got to take her in the car. She goes, well, that's why I figured we'd take the Jeep instead of your truck, because the truck is really big and a little bit higher up. Jeep's a little bit lower and smaller, so maybe even better. I'm like, okay. I will try it, but she's probably still going to have issues. But I was like, I look forward to when she's getting in and out of the car without any issues, because then we could get her in the car, take her to the park, the lake or whatever that has the 2-mile-ish walking path around it, and take her there and actually go on long walks with her. But I'm hesitant to do that while we're not sure how, if she, like, how long it's going to take her to get over her nippy phase, especially trying to get her out of the car. And I know a big part of it is probably because 2.5 years, I think they said they adopted her a year and a half ago. Like, their daughter adopted her, but then, like, they ended up having to be the one taking care of her, because the daughter kind of like, oh, never mind. Yeah, I got this husky pup, but, like, she's too much work. It's like, so then there's the parents that were the ones that were taking care of her, or kind of, I say air quotes, taking care of her, but probably, like, yanking the leash, maybe they kicked her because she has some psychological issues that she's like, you reach for her a certain way and she goes for your hand or whatever, but then she licks you like she didn't mean to bite you or whatever. And it's like, what happened to you? Like, what did they do to you? So I've never taken a dog to training before, but being that she, she's part of our family now, like, well, obviously we've already invested 500 fucking pet supplies, so I might as well invest 250 to get her into a couple of training sessions and see what we can do and start working on her and stuff. So anyway, on that note, I know I've talked you guys' ear off for a long time on this Real Talk Tuesday episode, so I apologize. But you know how it is, like when I do these episodes, like I'm all about keeping it real with you guys, not gonna bullshit, not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna basically just be straight up. And like I said earlier, it's like with this adoption, making her a part of the family, and everything we've experienced this week, it's like there's a lot. Obviously, this is 2 hours long already, so it's like obviously like, and I can keep going for a while, but obviously very easy to talk a lot about your fur kiddos. Dave thinks I'm nuts. He's like, they're just pets. They're not fur kids or fur babies. They're just pets. I'm like, for us, they're part of the family. Like they're like furry kids because we're their parents. We're taking care of them, whatever. Still gotta feed them, water them, take them on walks. Get some outside. Well, thankfully with the kids, you don't gotta put them on leashes or whatever, and go out walking with them. They can go out and do their own thing. But for us, like our cats, and whenever we had Tegan, our older husky, and we had my little dog. I had a dachshund for a while named Suri. They, especially when you raise them from puppies, like they're kids for you, because then they want loving, they want to cuddle, whatever. So it's like for us, it's the same thing, kind of, just in a different way. But so anyway, to close this out, guys, you know what I always say: keep pushing forward, keep believing, do what you have to do until you can do what you want to do. Believe you can, believe you will, and you're already halfway there, and then you just have to go out there and do it. And we only fail if we quit, give up, and walk away. So as long as we keep getting back up, keep fighting, keep trying stuff, trying to throw stuff at the wall, see what sticks, you haven't failed. It's like the example I always give about light bulbs, like he didn't find 1,000 ways that didn't work, or he didn't fail 1,000 ways, he found 1,000 ways that didn't work, and then it was 1,000 the first try that actually, when he finally succeeded. Not being literal, I don't know if he literally tried 1,000 different ways to do a light bulb, but I'm saying as a metaphor. If anybody wants to find us, you can find the Blodgett Show on social media. We are on Instagram at Blodgett Show Podcast. Feel free to give us a follow. My personals for Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, you can find me at TN, as in Tennessee Trucker Chris. TN Trucker Chris. On what I like to call Twitter X, or it's just called the X platform now. I am CEAZ Freedom. You can find me on YouTube. Follow me there at literally at Christopher Blodgett. And I do have a blog that I got to get back into updating, but you can find that at tntruckerchris.wordpress.com. And of course, since literally there's things I plan to do for the show, like get some of the written stories actually published into book form, into actual hard copy books and merch and stuff like that. But obviously that takes, more time than what I have at the moment. But more importantly, it takes, obviously money and resources to do. So if anybody wants to help, anything and everything would go towards stuff like hosting cost, or put money aside towards things like getting merch, getting the books published, and actually like getting some goodie stuff, some goodie bags, or merchandise, whatever, that thank you gifts, whatever, for people who would donate. All that would require obviously resources. So anybody who wants to help with that, wink wink, nudge nudge, feel free to go to Blodgett Show blodgeshow.com. That's literally my last name, the name of the show, blodgettshow.com/support, SUPPORT, blodgeshow.com/support. It's literally it's a donation link. You can either do a recurring or you can do like one time. Hell, you can donate $1 for all I care, and I would appreciate even $1 donation from anybody, recurring or one time. I don't care, but every little bit helps. So please donate if you're able to, and but otherwise, follow us on socials. Follow me on any of my regular socials. Anybody? Oh, one other thing I forgot to is for Storytime Friday, what I've started doing recently that I think I've got like one story emailed to me by my buddy Dave. But if you're a creative writer out there and you'd like to have one of your written stories told on the podcast, feel free to email them to me at blodgetshowpodcast@gmail.com. And obviously I'll review it, make sure it's appropriate, whatever. It's not like it's like a sex story or something. Gotta be appropriate for me to read on the air and stuff. But otherwise, it could have language in there, and it could be like scary, and it could even have death in there. I just don't want it to be like something that if kids listen to the show, that they'd be like, oh my god, this sexual scene is happening in this story that he's reading. Yeah, probably can't do that because I might get complaints or get in trouble. I don't know. So, but send your stories to me at blodgetshowpodcast@gmail.com, and I will check them out. And your story could be read on the show, and I'll even advertise for you if you want to include obviously written by so and so, and have your website, or if you have a email address for you want you do a certain kind of business, you want people to reach out to you, I'll throw that out there when I'm this story was written by so and so. You can reach them at this email address, and they have this website. You should check it out. But that is pretty much all I have for you guys. But I appreciate you tuning in with me this week. It's like this, with these episodes as well as the Storytime Friday ones, I literally just kind of force myself to start recording because I'm like, I better do it, otherwise it's just not gonna get done. And so just get it done, and so I go ahead and just hit record and do it. Same, especially with the stories, when I do the freestyle, I just kind of, as I'm getting to the last day of the week, I'll just throw the headset on and hit record and start doing a story episode, just so that I can have one for the next week. So I'm good, Trying to be consistent, proactive with you guys, because I know if I let up, I'll be lazy and probably end up taking a few weeks off, So on that note, thank you guys for being here with me this week. Hope you guys enjoyed this real talk. And I will see you guys on Friday for the next round of Storytime Friday. On that note, you guys keep being awesome. Do what you gotta do. And I will talk to you on the next one. Have a good one.